recording.
And welcome back to episode 9 of Suplex Biddies.
Babyface edition, baby.
Let's go. The babyface episode. Shout out Couch Guy Sports. Go use the internet one time. Check them out. We're on the come up. Babyface alert down the bottom. We got Honey Chin Chin, Double Chin, the wrestling aficionado, Andrew Hunterman in the building. We got Hooters' usual customer, Diego the DJ Galvis, and we got myself, Chris Dunce Boy Jones, on the episode tonight. Boys, how are we feeling?
Feeling good. Feeling
naked. Because, yeah, you know.
It's about to say, I see a shirt on. You can't be that naked.
I just don't want to see you in the middle
No.
of an alley.
We don't want to see. So we got a bunch of stuff we want to get into this week.
OnlyFans, baby.
Oh goodness!
Listen, I'm just glad that nightclubs are closed and nobody's allowed in, because after midnight you can't let that guy come at you middle of the night. You just can't.
Dude, but between
green t-shirts for the boys,
between having no beard and then the poof, the little poof he's got going on up here, can't handle it. Can't handle it. Again,
what is that? What is that? The Chief Saugus edition of Charlie Puth?
I woke up like this.
Again, we're brought to you by Couch Guy Sports. Please, again, make sure you use the internet one time. There's so much.
Fucking click the thing. You know,
so much content, dude. There's so much content, man. You don't want to miss it. We got some stuff we want to get into. The first thing we're going to get into real quick. Boys, we haven't been able to touch upon it because we've had some busy episodes, but it's the end of an era. The Wednesday Night Wars are officially done. Over with. AEW versus NXT. NXT is officially moved to Tuesdays. Real quick, what are your thoughts on the first two shows for both NXT and AEW on two different nights? Who wants to go first?
I mean, frankly, I'm kind of excited about the NXT Tuesday thing. It kind of gives me a little bit of a throwback as to when Raw and SmackDown used to be like the back-to-back nights. And considering that Raw is such a piss-poor product right now, I think NXT right now just being on Tuesday kind of gives wrestling fans that relief of, okay, I can bounce back and see actually something good. It sucks that Wednesday Night Wars are over because such a great era and actually kind of fun to watch on a Wednesday. But I think at this point right now where NXT is picking up steam, being on a Tuesday is actually more of a beneficial move than anything else.
Agreed. I would say for them personally, I think they looked at it and they said, look, AEW's got this talented roster, and from start to finish, I don't know if we can compete with this with our quote unquote developmental brand. So they made the move in order to get out and to get more viewerships, in which it's worked because they're getting more viewerships than when they were going up on Wednesday night against AEW. Yep. But at the same time, AEW is even picking up more traction because they're the only thing on Wednesday night now when it comes to wrestling. So real quick, before we dive into anything else that has to do with this, I have the numbers for the first two shows for the first 2 weeks of the Tuesday night NXT and the Wednesday night AEW. NXT, the first Tuesday night, they had 805,000 views.
Pretty good.
And then the second week on 420, they had 841,000 views. So an uptick in it for them. That's about, let's do math. That's about
like 40,000.
That's about a 36 million. I'm sorry, 36,000. Excuse me. It's been a long day, dude. Hold on.
Do you want me to do it?
Nope. 36,000 fan increase for the 2 weeks for NXT. So that's a good sign for them, especially because NXT from this past week, we saw Kyle O'Reilly back on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And with the face-to-face between O'Reilly and Karrion Kross, that looks like it's going to be the next title feud.
I would love to see it. I hate Karrion Kross. Don't get me going.
For AEW, the first week they got 1.219 million. And then last week we saw a little bit of a dip. Or this past week, I should say, at 1.104 million. But they're hitting the millions right now.
Yep.
Why do you think that they're hitting the millions on Wednesdays, but NXT's not on Tuesdays?
So what was the question again?
Why do you think AEW is hitting the millions on Wednesdays?
Oh, well, so wrestling
compared
fans,
to NXT on Tuesday.
We are a special breed. on Wednesday you had to choose which one you wanted to watch. So AEW and NXT were both pulling around, I think together, like 1.4, 1.5 every week. It varied, of course. But now that you can just watch NXT on Tuesdays, it's gone up. I think their last show on Wednesday was in the 600,000. So, I mean, getting another 200,000 fans, pretty damn good. And you don't have to choose. You get to see your favorites on each night. It makes sense for everybody. And like the original thought behind it was, AEW was launching, WWE wanted to counter it just a little bit so they didn't just, shoot to the moon like Dogecoin this past week. And, it just showed how AEW's built that fan base. Dude, 1.2, it was their show after WWE's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that had more hype behind it than like Monday Night Raw, which, wasn't, again, kind of poo. And NXT, again, first night, new night. Maybe people just didn't realize it wasn't on yet, which could lead to that little uptick on Wednesday. But, 1.2 million people tuned in, not including whoever's sitting next to you on the couch, to watch their broadcast. So it's just showing how great they've done with their marketing, the cross promotion between TNA, between New Japan, everything. I look forward to it because they're just going to keep delivering. Like this past week's card was one of the best they've had in months.
A while.
So, and NXT, I think NXT is going to hit the mills by the summer. I think they have plenty of talent, and then getting everybody reestablished and people having to, the casual viewer, as they say, has to reassess and realize, 8:00 on Tuesdays, let me tune in and watch Adam Cole, baby,
If he's there for much longer. I think that's also a big issue with NXT is you just never know when anybody's going to get the call up.
Right.
So I think that's why the casual fan will tune out of it in a sense.
That could be.
With AEW, you don't know who's going to be on the card until like the day of, but at least you're used to the same names, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than having the potential of, watching every week and going, okay, is Adam Cole still on this roster? Yes or no?
Right.
I think that's why more people tune into AEW because they know what they're getting, and they're getting a solid tag team division. Mm-hmm. They're getting solid angles left and right. I can't really tell you any bad angles that AEW have had per se.
QT Marshall doing anything? No, he's a good wrestler. He just doesn't interest me.
I don't know. Just the way the AEW brands themselves, I just think it's so much better right now, especially because you got to think of it too. They are their own quote unquote. This is their Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. Right. This is their main show. That's why they're getting. That's why they're getting 1.2. NXT is technically their WWE C show, and I don't know.
It's like Monday Night Raw competing with current day TNA when they first did it. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's maybe to a little bit of a lesser extent, but AEW, man, they also have their YouTube shows that I think have really helped. They started with Dark, which was around 2 hours every week, just Tuesday nights. And that still is going on. And then they added Elevation, which is another one on Monday nights. And I think it's probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, but they quietly have about 6 hours of programming every week, 4 of which are free to anyone with an internet connection. So it's like, all these guys like Jungle Boy or Luchasaurus, you're on YouTube. Oh, look what's streaming right now. Who the hell's this guy? Who's this guy with a dino
Scorpio
mask?
Sky.
Why is this guy with a dino mask choke slamming a small boy?
Dude, sometimes they even have fucking Kenny Omega on that stuff.
Yeah,
like
they had him on Elevation a few times.
There's just so many different ways that they get their programming out, and I think their marketing is probably one of the best.
Yep.
And I think for WWE's quote unquote C show, that's where the lack is the lack of marketing in a sense.
Yeah, the whole NXT is kind of like, I know because of COVID, it feels like things got a little messed up. But when they combined them with Survivor Series last year, or I shouldn't say last year, 2019 at this point, I was so happy, man. The triple threat elimination matches and everything were unreal. I thought it gave everybody a chance. You had Keith Lee face off with Roman Reigns back then, get that exposure. And now it just seems like NXT is literally just like its own little thing, like you're saying. And there's no, like, Raw still has main event that no one really cares about that's on the network. It's like 2 lower mid, undercard matches that guys like Drew Gulak will show up on. And that's still a little bit of extra exposure. Maybe there's only 20,000 people that watch it, but it's still just that little extra. So I don't know. I love AEW.
I think 20,000 is generous for WWE main event.
I know.
I think like 2,000 would be
WWE hasn't had a main event since 2010 when it first launched. I miss Saturday Morning Slam. That was the best.
I miss Sunday Night Heat.
Yeah. Fucking Velocity.
Or the one time you'll wake up and Velocity's on you. Oh. I mean, Diego, what are your takes here? You know, we just your thoughts on why.
Does AEW getting these numbers make you say, what if I check out some of their old things? Maybe I'll be one of the 1.2 million. What about you? What you thinking over there?
Oh, the way you said old sounded like you were saying, "Oh, me old, yeah."
That was 6 different accents at once, so I don't even know what I was going for there. But
Diego? So the question really is, all right. Well, personally, like AEW has managed to really create a really, really strong platform for themselves, not only with the old school signings that they have done throughout their term right now, but also the product that they've put out. NXT in itself, in the meantime, has been a push project of Triple H per se, and the brand has kind of bought into it. But by the time that the brand has bought into it, I mean, the numbers say themselves. You're going against 80,000 views versus 20. At this point, whatever investment the brand is making on it, it's either very little and needs major improvement, or you kind of need some serious marketing to go along the way. Because if there's anything AEW has done very well to the point right now, is their marketing campaign, their push, and their social media presence as well, because they're far more present on social media than NXT in itself is. I think the product, the storylines, the characters that they have in there all create a massive buildup as well, and actually get the fans to actually look forward to it every week, rather than kind of the same storylines dragged a little bit, the same exact WWE kind of product in NXT. So I think that's why the viewership, in my opinion.
A lot of people think NXT's kind of taken a step back since it went on to USA Network, because now that Vince McMahon's overseeing it, he seems to make it kind of tread more towards the Raw SmackDown style, where you see similar rematches and things like that. And that's one thing that AEW also does fantastically, is that they'll always do a fresh new matchup that you hadn't seen. Maybe they did it on one of their YouTube shows like a month or two ago, but like even they had Kenny Omega versus Matt Sydal a couple weeks ago. Like, when's the last time you saw a main eventer from Raw or SmackDown mix it up with an undercard guy or a smaller, underutilized guy such as that? No, it's like if you threw Roman versus Drew Gulak on a SmackDown main event. So it's like it gives everybody that decent exposure, and I think they just do a better job, man. I don't know. They're definitely an alternative. They're not trying to compete with WWE, as they've said. Yet they'll still take shots at them on TV, which whatever.
Yeah.
They're not trying to compete with them. They're trying to be an alternative.
And I mean, I think
alternatively, they're getting 1.2 million views, so they're doing something right.
I mean, I think the other thing too to kind of realize too is, and I'm gonna throw a shot right there at WWE, is AEW hasn't really done much of a roster shift in kind of a long while, and they also haven't let go of a lot of people. Something that WWE has kind of gotten a name for, rather than actual build a brand on. Not only their yearly departures, but also how they break certain storylines. Like, for example, the heavy machinery team tag there for WWE. Characters that people actually got the fans in a way that were charismatic, actually brought a product different from everybody else. It provided a different personality. It's now something that they tore apart, let go of one of their members, and now trying to see whatever they can do with the other piece of that team. Something you don't really see in AEW. They let their characters develop into deeper and kind of get far more personalized with their fans, which is something that I think goes a long way. So
yeah.
I mean, if we're gonna go tomatoes there, I mean, I do see what you're saying is, you're less likely to see a tag team split up and have them go on singles runs in AEW than they are in WWE, which I agree. But the one thing that they do is if they do split up the teams, right? It's because A, it's not working for AEW, not WWE.
Sure.
A, it's not working, and B, they have plans for them. WWE just doesn't, just because
Doesn't have any plans,
we don't want it
exactly.
on TV anymore.
Mhm.
This is the issue. The Iconics is a prime example. They were probably your best women's tag team in the entire division. That's very lackluster at the moment. You split them up and make them single stars. You don't do anything with them. Billy Kay has a cool comedy role, and Peyton Royce shows up once in a blue moon.
They gave Billy Kay 30 seconds a week, and everyone was just raving about how she just sees that 30 seconds. She got on WrestleMania, which was cool, but again, it's to me, it's still wild that you have all this TV time with NXT, Raw, SmackDown, and there's all these disgruntled people. Like, not everyone can be a world champion. I think everybody knows that. But guys like Aleister Black or even Samoa Joe before he was let go. Hold on. Dude, I still can't believe it. All these people getting pissed. Andrade was requesting a release publicly, and AEW has this roster full of people. I don't think anyone's come out and said, "Yeah, I don't like it here. This kind of sucks." They're all invested in everything they're doing, and again, it just might be the different management style, the storylines, even if it's basic. I just wish they'd take a little bit of a page out of their book and kind of maybe mix it up a little bit, but there's plenty of things I could say. And as we all know, I'm a big AEW guy, so I should stop talking until we get to the next step.
So speaking of next stuff,
speaking of the next stuff with AEW, let's dive into their next big event, which is Blood and Guts, taking place on Cinco de Mayo. And
May 5th,
as of right now, it looks like the only match on that card is the Blood and Guts match between the Inner Circle and the Pinnacle.
Yep.
So I want to start with Diego first on this one, only because I know how in depth Hunneman's about to get with this.
I'm not so trying to.
I want Diego's opinion on this. What do you think of this quote unquote one match card of just the Blood and Guts match? Which, by the way, if you don't know what the Blood and Guts match is, it's basically the War Games match that NXT does.
That Dusty Rhodes brought into the world.
Yep. I mean, not gonna lie, it's unique, brings a lot of perspective, and I think having it be just a one match, I think it's a great opener to the storyline that it can build up from there. It's a great product. It's innovative. It's catchy. It's got a great name that's more like, what the hell am I about to watch here? Am I about to watch a brutal beatdown between these two? Or am I about to watch just more of
Kenny Omega's explosion?
Yeah, kind of like the pyrotechnics that WWE is known for, kind of thing. The extra side effects and whatnot. Where AEW is kind of, in my perspective, far more natural in that aspect, and rather than all these side effects that WWE makes into their product. I'm actually looking forward to that, and I think it's a great match. I personally like the Pinnacle myself, but I honestly, I think it's a great storyline. I think, if anything, I would probably just add another match in there. I don't think the one match will do justice for the type of product that they're looking to deliver. But overall, like I said, great concept. I think, if anything, that's just gonna, instead of these million of views that they get in there, just about to continue to skyrocket with that great of a program in there.
It's literally a 1 week special that they're hyping around. Like, so I didn't realize it until this past week, because they started talking about it on the show. It might have been even Chris Jericho that said it in an interview, but like, it's literally, so it's a 2-hour broadcast as of right now. Nothing's changed, but the match itself is probably going to take like an hour and 15 minutes with everybody involved. It's kind of like, think about Lethal Lockdown, like TNA used to do back in the day. Those matches, 2 people start, then somebody comes in, then somebody else comes in, and it's going to be like those intervals and everything. But the fact that you're going to build your entire show around these 10 dudes is a huge moment, I think, because obviously people know who Chris Jericho is. People are starting to get real familiar with the rest of them. The original Blood and Guts was supposed to take place.
I was about to bring that up when I got into it.
It's supposed to be the Elite versus the Inner Circle, good guys, the elite, bad guys, inner circle. But then because of COVID, they canned it, and then that turned into the Stadium Stampede match, which was also
very good.
One of the highlights
good.
of COVID. And now they got Jericho, who seemingly is spearheading the entire thing. And it's a thing that I'm sure Cody's thrilled to get involved because of, his dad's history with the match itself. They couldn't get the War Games, trademark or anything like that, but I believe they applied for that one. And they're really just digging their shoes in to make this one of their pinnacle events. Like, this could replace a pay-per-view. Like, I mean, I would hope they don't just make it like a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view where there's just, one's coming, but they're putting all their cards in this one specific thing. They're going to promote the hell out of it. They're going to have the Lakers versus like the Nets on TNT on like Monday night. And then they're gonna be like, hey, by the way, basketball is cool, but you ever see Blood and Guts? And then Shaq's going to be like, yo, I'll be there. I might be there. And just the constant cross promotion between that network and the network that seemingly actually cares about them. I think it's going to deliver. And I'm interested to see how they're going to fill the rest of the show. I feel like it's just going to be a bunch of highlight packages, maybe some backstage fights that they filmed previously. But I have it marked on my calendar. I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing for this for me is I feel like when they originally had this idea for Blood and Guts with the Inner Circle and the Elite, they were in this heated rivalry, and they needed to have that quote unquote finish at the end. Mm-hmm. With that being said, with the Pinnacle, for whatever reason, in my opinion, it just seems like they wanted to do Jericho versus MJF so bad. Okay, understandable. Mm-hmm. The Jericho group versus the MJF group, but I feel like they're slowly rushing it because if you think about it, how much time on TV has the Pinnacle actually gotten since they've officially become the Pinnacle? Do you know what I mean?
It's only been like a month.
Yeah. So like they really haven't had like, in order for me, I'm investing in it because I'm curious to see how the AEW product does with this. But for me personally, I would be more invested if they worked the Pinnacle like they did with the Inner Circle when the Inner Circle first started. Yep. So my only issue with it is because MJF's the leader right now. I still think he's a year or two away from being that damn good where he can lead a group. I think they rushed him into a group too early, especially with this big magnitude. Obviously, we're going to see Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood in a good tag team feud. Put them up against the best friends. That's what Santana and Ortiz did, and it was very good.
Yep.
Sean Spears. You need Sean Spears in something. You can't just have Sean Spears be the quote-unquote like fifth member of the group. Like Sammy Guevara had a promo with Matt Hart. That's how that started. And that's how Sean Spears needs something like that.
It's interesting. Sean Spears and Guevara are like that crossing point. Like they seem to be the mid-card guy.
Right.
No.
And then you have Hager and Wardlow in comparison. Wardlow is a future world champion.
I hope
hands
so,
down. Wardlow is a future world champion, hands down. And MJF, for me personally, I need to see gold around the Pinnacle's waist.
Yep.
They need to be in some sort of title feud. And MJF and Kenny Omega would be cool. Don't get me wrong. Don't think MJF beats Kenny Omega, no matter what. Especially when it's quote unquote heel versus heel. There's no way. So for me, I'm invested just to see what it looks like. It was like the Stadium Stampede. It was something we've never seen before. I'm invested in Blood and Guts. It's kind of like War Games, like we said, but I'm ready to see this. I'm ready to see it.
The premise. Did we tell them that it's the 2 rings with 2 cages set up? So it's literally, so it's 2 like roofed off cages. So War Games has the open top, but these are literally 2 domed off. It's almost just like a big old. It's a steel cage with 2 rings in it. So
I just think they rushed this too much. Like I understand, they're the king of the promotions. They had the Bash at the Beach. They had the St. Patty's Day thing. They're good at it. I'm just worried that they're gonna kill the Pinnacle off before they even reach the pinnacle of them as a group. That's my only issue.
I was gonna say it, but I didn't want to take up all the friggin' time. So as we said, it's only been so obviously the MJF Jericho thing's been going since I believe October, right? When they had Jericho versus him at the pay-per-view.
Yep.
Was it All In or
I think so, yeah.
or Full Gear? One of those two. But they have been building it since then. So technically, it is a long-term storytelling thing between them.
If it was, I agree with that,
Yeah.
and I agree with that 100%.
But with the other guys that are getting added into it, it does seem like this is one of those things that you'd consider to be a blow-off match for this big faction feud. So you wonder, like, as good as this could be, what's next? So as you said, I don't think they're all going to go their separate ways. I don't think the Inner Circle is going to disband.
Yeah.
So I am with you in that case where I'm unsure of how they're going to, how do you continue a feud after something this large, you know? So, and for me, because they've only disappointed me just a few times, I'm interested to see how they do it, and I'm going to have an open mind. But it's going to be, I agree with you 100%. It does feel rushed, but they love their gimmicks, as we've said.
Agreed. And gimmicks draws the ratings, and they know that.
Yep.
I would have liked to see the Pinnacle in a feud first before they go balls to the wall with the Inner Circle. Like, I would have liked to see each of them individually facing. Like, I would love to see Wardlow in a feud, period.
Yeah.
They have, like, he's just been MJF's guy. Get Wardlow in an actual feud, and I'm in 100%.
He hasn't done anything since he versed, like, Hager that one time when they were still part
of like, legitimately see if he can be the next world champion. You have to put him on like that, and they just don't do it. That's what frustrates me about it. Yeah. Other than that, I think it's a cool concept. I'm excited for it. I always like the War Games when NXT does it. I'm sure I'm going to love it when AEW does it as Blood and Guts. Last thing on the card for tonight. We mentioned it earlier. The stale product of Monday Night Raw has been unbearable in our opinions. As Hunterman clearly just farted and smelled.
I did not. I didn't mean to. I hit the thing. Yeah, it stinks. It stinks in here. It stinks on Raw.
So, Raw, in our opinion, since after WrestleMania and even a little bit before WrestleMania, Raw has been staler than a bag of potato chips that you leave on your desk for a month. So, we're going to do a quick debate on what we think would better the product for Monday Night Raw.
Let's put that one thing out there that everybody probably agrees with already.
All right, ready? On 3, we're going to say it together. 1, 2, 3.
Make Raw 2 hours long. What are you doing?
Diego's sitting like, what? Diego looked like a lost puppy.
We didn't practice that.
You two clearly did. You two.
No, we talk about this all the freaking time. I can't.
Yeah.
Who hired this guy? Who hired him?
You. Nobody. Think I'm getting paid?
Fuck.
I'm interning, bro.
Intern Andrew. I mean, yeah. So obviously the 2-hour mark is. I'm fucking.
There he is.
It's every episode. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
I've been sitting there for 5 minutes, fucking clicking it, and it just won't play.
You know you can fix that in your display settings, right? I'm gonna say it again. You know you can fix it in your settings, right? I'm down the street, dude.
Guys,
I'll come up. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. You know what, Diego? How would you change Monday Night fucking shit fest?
Number 1, I wouldn't have Vince McMahon running it. That's number 1.
All right, so cross that off the list because that's not changing. Next one.
Unless he fucking dies.
Number two, I think a network change would actually help them a little bit. I think having been in USA for far too long, I think what USA as itself and the product wants to put out, it's a little bit stale. And I think if they were to change it to another network, they would be given far more freedom to create something new. Somebody like a TNT, maybe even
TNT.
Yeah, maybe even like I don't know, maybe like a Fox or something like that. Something where the focus is really
Fox getting both of them. Oh,
just so I agree that could be something like, I mean, look how much SmackDown changed since it went to Fox.
Yep.
You know, whether it's because of the executives or not, but Raw is under contract with USA for, I believe, 3 or 4 more years, so we know. Unfortunately.
In addition, I think a roster change-up really needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Where we see some of the storylines, maybe like a I don't know, Roman Reigns coming back to Raw when Roman was back to
Not
Raw?
a chance.
Well, when
He is
Roman,
the poster boy of Fox Television.
no, I know, but when Roman was in Raw, the dude was bringing up great revenue to that market
I
in
agree.
itself.
I agree.
Maybe bring somebody like actually no, I'm not gonna say this because no, my lucky's probably is in Raw, but because I'm not watching it as often because it's unbearable, I probably missed up. I would
Reginald.
no. I was gonna say Seth Rollins.
No, he's actually.
He is a SmackDown boy.
I was gonna say Seth Rollins definitely needs to go to Monday Night Raw.
I would say
he
Seth
just-
Rollins. I would say Seth Rollins, Cesaro, and maybe even a couple of the people from the women's division could go to Raw and impulse that market a little bit too. Because I think at this point where Charlotte Flair has been in Raw for far too long, I think people kind of respect it. And her, even if she's coming with this little promo, it's like, I'm the opportunity, I'm the Tony Tough Nuts of Raw. Dude, you kind of
Tough nuts. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That was just too funny. Didn't expect it. Tony Tough Nuts.
I just think she's overdone it. Like, move on. We get it. You're the tough hot shit of fucking Raw. Who cares? You are shit anyways. Your product is shit. At this point, it's massive diarrhea. Wipe your asshole. Get off your fucking toilet.
How you
and
gonna
just move on.
I can't believe you're saying this about Charlotte Flair instead of Nia Jax.
Oh,
Oh, that
what?
dude.
that
Leave
hole
her.
hasn't been fixed in years. Let's move on from that. That thing is
You
still
know
leaking.
this, Andrew.
That thing is still
Every
leaking.
week we talk about that hole, not because we like it, because there's nothing else there.
Listen,
It
it needs so much attention that she needs to yell it out in middle of a pay-per-view. All right, so
My hole.
yeah,
Jokes aside, she is a very funny Twitter follow. Just so we,
she is.
just in case
She
people
is,
didn't know.
yes.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
with that aside, I think if a roster change up, maybe like how they used to do it a little bit, the draft, maybe like if the draft came back, because obviously because of COVID and all that stuff, they're trying to maintain things very aligned and whatnot. But I mean, we're all getting vaccinated. COVID's kind of basically making its way out. Let's kind of shift things up a little bit and create a whole new product, because if it was supposed to be the poster child of WWE, well, WWE in itself is creating a product which is full of shit at this point. And you're milking it. So let's kind of change things up a little bit, get with the program, get to a new age. And that's back to my point. That's where AEW has done just so well, because they're with the age, they're doing surveys actually as to what fans want. Something WWE has not done in years.
WWE sends those out, but then nothing happens.
They don't read those.
And
They haven't read one of those.
And frankly, I think it all stems to in a shakeup of leadership as well. I think if you were to promote some of the OGs of WWE into some of that higher ranking power, get them involved and shape up this new generation, I think that will help the whole entire thing overall. Not just Raw, but everyone else.
Now that talent relations guy got shown the door because he decided to send
he's a douchebag and a half.
Mickey James all our stuff in a trash bag. What an ass. I don't know the full story behind that, but that was bad.
Ass at 9, ass at 10, ass at 11, ass at 12. Horrible. It was horrible.
That was bad.
You don't treat people like that, let alone a woman.
You shouldn't. I would hope that isn't a common thing with him, but I once I saw that dude's face, I was like, oh my god, that guy's an asshole. Oh, no wonder. One thing that I like what you were saying about Diego, the change in leadership. I don't know if people seem to know this, but on SmackDown, Daniel Bryan's part of the writing team.
Yeah.
SmackDown's been really good. And imagine having someone that's been at the top and kind of knows what people like and connects with the fans and actually knows what they enjoy. Someone chiming in, wonder why that was the best angle of the last 3 months. So, I mean,
you kind of had that going on with Kurt Angle being part of Raw for a while.
I think he was part of it.
That's where Raw improved for quite a while. And now you got him out of the picture. Now you're absolute shit.
I just think I think Raw also would benefit from a time change and maybe do 7 to 10 instead of 7 to 11. And there's
8
a
to
lot
11,
of,
you mean?
You mean 8
yeah,
to
sorry,
11?
instead of
Yeah.
8 to 11. Yeah. Oh,
He
God,
wants to go to 7
don't say don't say
hot
7.
dogs.
Don't even put that in the atmosphere. I don't want anyone thinking about that. But like Bruce Pritchard is running, the head writer of Raw and SmackDown. That dude got to be working himself into the freaking ground.
Agreed. That was one thing I was going to bring up, and the one thing I was going to bring up was the fact that Raw definitely needs their own writer, because if Bruce Pritchard's writing for both shows, he's tired, dude. Sitting there writing for 2 shows for the 2-week span. Ugh.
Well, the thing that we always
awful.
see is I feel like we always see articles about how Raw, the script got changed at the last minute. Or, even as recently as this week, Vince McMahon, super late to, writers meeting and then changed everything like right before the freaking show. Like they advertised Braun Strowman and Randy Orton for the first time ever on Raw. And they advertised that as early as Saturday or Friday, I believe. And guess who didn't interact on Monday Night Raw? Just take
Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt.
didn't even sneeze on him. Like you can't hype, you can't promote the stuff and then not deliver. Like, I mean, I'm not chomping at the bit to see Braun Strowman versus Randy Orton, but again, first time ever. Okay, maybe they'll do something cool. Didn't even happen. Randy Orton versus Matt Riddle, which was good. And then Strowman is now Drew McIntyre's friend, even though he wanted to beat him up like a week ago. The logic is gone, and I feel like SmackDown seems to have a grasp on the longer term bookings. Look at Roman Reigns' stuff, Big E and Apollo. It seems like these long term things just seem to flow a little better. And then Raw, it's just every week they could just forget about something. And please chime in, Jones, because we have a similar thought process.
I'm sorry. I'm watching SmackDown at the time we're recording, and I just saw that Apollo Crews is defending his Intercontinental Championship against who?
I didn't see what it said. What did it say?
Kevin Owens.
See, so that's cool. Don't get me wrong, but the big dude's gonna break it up, and then Kevin Owens, another dude that should definitely probably go to Raw. He's done everything.
But do you know who called that before WWE even wrote it on television?
They listened.
This guy.
You did.
They listened to me.
They did.
But to go back to the shakeup.
Yeah. So I like the shakeup after WrestleMania, because that's supposed to be the end of their year's storylines. The October draft thing, because the TV seasons are changing over to the fall or whatever it is, always felt out of place. Like, why are you going to run all these angles to WrestleMania, have everything come to a halt at the show, and then just kind of pick up the next night and be like, hey, I still don't like you, dude.
Not only that, but think of a regular Joe this day and age. Do you really think there is Sammy little boy, fucking 12 years old, watching WWE and thinking, well, October is really TV season. They're not gonna do the draft until just fucking do it after WrestleMania. Get the storylines over, create something new, and move on.
I think they got to bring it back after WrestleMania, because the way you start your new. October's weird. Are you watching Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax kind of break up?
I thought he farted.
No, it was a combination of that, and it was a combination of the other match that got added to the card for WWE Women's Backlash. WrestleMania Backlash. It's Bianca Belair is defending the title
against
Bayley.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I don't hate that.
I don't hate it. When I wrote the article, I was like, there's no way that they're just going to do a one-off with Sasha Banks. Guess what they're doing? A one-off with Sasha Banks.
So again, that's some intrigue. And guess what show that was?
SmackDown. They're doing it differently. Hey, what was the first thing that Raw did? The night after WrestleMania. Oh, it's a triple threat match. The winner will face Bobby Lashley at Backlash. You got Randy Orton, you got Braun Strowman, you got Drew McIntyre. Who wins? Drew. We just saw it at WrestleMania.
And again, don't get me wrong, Drew has been fantastic.
He's carried Raw, but they need fresh faces on that brand. They need fresh writing. They need fresh everything.
Big E and Kevin Owens are talking about stuff.
Good. I hope Kevin Owens wins the title. Good. But no, seriously though, I'm telling you, if Raw had their own individual writing team, and Vince McMahon with all the pay cuts that you just made on cutting talent, just buy a writing team for Raw and let Pritchard and everybody else do SmackDown. Let guys, like you said, Daniel Bryan. Let Daniel Bryan help write for SmackDown. Get somebody on Raw that can help. You know who's been writing his own stuff on SmackDown is Seth Rollins. Get him on Raw and have him do that for Raw.
That man has drip, and I don't like to say that.
Plain and simple. Raw shakeup. I know we went off topic with SmackDown and the 2 matches and stuff like that, but Raw needs the biggest shakeup of everything.
One thing that Raw I like, right? So I know we didn't really talk about it, but Retribution's boys, Mace and T-Bar, finally got their masks taken off.
Yes.
And they're advertising a rematch between the same 4 people. And guess what? Their masks are back on.
I just hope they got good.
Are you kidding me?
The graphic just had the mask back on. You just unmasked them, dude. Just
that's just absurd, dude.
You can't write this. You can't write this.
How are you this bad?
Maybe it's just an outdated graphic, but like hopefully they actually continue that storyline.
I mean, they had the little thing behind like on WWE.com, the exclusive, where what they was talking about them taking over the tag team division. And if that happens for Raw, cool. Yeah. You know why? Because it's different faces that are doing it.
Big faces, yeah.
What was the one thing we read about earlier? Who was going to SmackDown?
Mia Yim?
Fucking Mia Yim.
Yeah.
Put someone else on Raw. They need new faces. You can't keep putting Charlotte. You can't keep putting Drew McIntyre. I like Drew McIntyre. You can't keep putting the same guys out there, facing the same people. You need to mix it up, and that's WWE's biggest problem. Mm-hmm. And one other thing that they need to do is Kevin Dunn needs to be let go immediately. His camera angles are
that was going to be my grand finale.
I do not want to see him working for this company ever again.
Oh, you don't like 87 camera cuts in 30 seconds?
No. I can't see what's going on in the ring because Kevin Dunn goes camera 7, camera 10, camera 16, camera 69, camera 44. Come on, let's go. Oh, camera 10.
He's just
go. It's like, dude, fuck you, Kevin Dunn, fuck you. Any final things on how to make Monday Night Raw better? Because I know we've gone off topic with this.
I don't know if we've actually offered a solution for him. But
go to 2 hours and it'll write itself. Not having to write that 3rd hour will make your writing team that much less stressful.
Consolidate. I mean, when they get fans back, everybody's going to be better off. Obviously, the Thunderdome was really cool for what it was, and a lot of people have thrived in that atmosphere. You know, Roman Reigns' promos come off a whole different way than if you had 20,000 people going what every other word.
Oh, you're just going, boom.
I'm your tribal chief. What? And it's just like, I don't miss that. I know that'll come back at some point, but some people have thrived in that, like Bailey, Roman, Drew, even. When the fans come back, it'll help bring that atmosphere back. I mean, you saw how awesome WrestleMania was. Obviously shortening it, and I definitely think the writer shakeup's a must. Because those poor people are working themselves into the fucking grave. Like, I know Vince is going to be there. You're going to tell me you're going to work 3 days, stay up just hours into the night to have Vince McMahon show up an hour before the show and be like, no, I don't like that one. Fuck it. Let's do this instead. It's just,
they legitimately need they just Raw needs their own writing team. Let Bruce Pritchard pick a show where Bruce Pritchard goes. Bruce Pritchard's a good writer, but when he's writing 2 shows, he sucks. Go from the 8 to 10. Go from 8 to 10. With so much when they were back in the day when they were 9 to 11, that was peak. Go to 8 to 10 and see what you get. If you go to 8 to 10 and you don't like the numbers, go to 9 to 11. You don't need 8 to 11. You need a different. It's not a super show. Like if you had the talent on Monday Night Raw to do 3 hours and you could write it differently every different week, so be it. But you're struggling and Vince McMahon scraps it. Like Hunterman said earlier, an hour before the show. Can't do it. That's those are the main shakeups that Raw needs to do moving forward.
I mean, just like we said before, just to touch on it real quick, when Raw had its like peak, maybe was it last summer or something like that, or right before that with Paul Heyman in charge, maybe a year ago, because my timeline's all messed up. There might have been a little too many tuck angles for the regular guy, but he was pushing guys like Aleister Black and Apollo Crews and giving us those fresh faces and Ricochet. And then, of course, once he was removed, now they're back to the old stuff, and they do need some serious shakeups. And I mean, we're now seeing all the memes of it's you see the Family Guy thing when it's like everyone's putting their hands in, and it's like, thanks for entertaining me and helping me get up during the day, and it's SmackDown, AEW, NXT, and then the guy with the wooden head goes on and it says Raw, and they go, no, not you, get out of here. It's just, there's so many memes about how shitty Raw is. So you hope that lights a fire, and their declining ratings going under 2 million. I feel like USA is probably not going to like that for very long.
Nope.
So we'll see.
Diego, any final thoughts before we conclude episode 9?
Partnership with Hooters. What do you think?
That would be fantastic, but
I'll make a call.
If Wally was here, that partnership would be done already.
That's the mayor.
That man has to own a franchise by now. I can't be convinced otherwise.
He's the mayor. He's the mayor of Hooters. I don't know which one.
Mayor of Hootville.
He's the man. He's the man to Hooters like the Colonel Sanders is to Kentucky Fried Chicken. At this point, no, I got nothing else to add. Raw your shit. Get your diarrhea together.
Yep.
And
watch
your
it,
ass.
dude. I struggle to I try to watch it for this, this show, so I'm informed. It's so freaking hard. And every day, every Monday, when I could just be, I don't know, doing some cartwheels in the backyard, I'm sitting down watching Braun Strowman get called stupid again.
Hold on.
I can't do cartwhose in my room.
What do you want me to do? I was about to say, you can't do cartwheels, period.
They're like cartwheels.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So again, from all of us here, make sure Couch Guy Sports, make sure if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're checking out all the other podcasts that are on the network as well. From Hooters usual customer Diego Galvez, Honey Chin Chin Double Chin Andrew Hanneman, Chris Dunsboy Jones. We'll see you next week for episode 10 of Suplex Biddies.